For many wrestling fans, WWE's annual Royal Rumble pay-per-view is the highlight of the wrestling calendar. And it's the same for wrestlers as well. The Royal Rumble can be the start of something great. However, for certain wrestlers, particularly the 10 I'm about to mention in this list, it can also be the place of something 12 months later, decidedly not so great. With that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are the 10 biggest Royal Rumble falls from grace. Number 10, Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund never ceases to surprise wrestling fans. He certainly surprised me when I interviewed him over WrestleMania weekend a few years ago by being bloody bonkers. But anyway, he was the surprise entrant and surprise Iron Man of the 1993 Royal Rumble. He entered at number 2, and he was the second to last person eliminated, as of course Yokozuna went on to win the whole thing. Fast forward a year to 1994 though, and it was a vastly different Rumble match for Mr. Backlund. He lasted only 41 seconds as part of Diesel's sheer decimation of that match. Still though, 1994 wasn't all bad. He even got a very brief WWE Championship run as they transitioned the belt from Bret Hart onto Diesel via Bob. Never change, mate. Number 9, Rusev. The general consensus amongst wrestling fans and wrestling media is that WWE dropped a massive bollock when it comes to Rusev, better known as Miro in AEW now. He should at the very least had a couple of WWE Championship runs under his belt, but that wasn't the case, although it did seem to be heading in that direction in 2015. He was a part of the Rumble match, ended about halfway through, and was the last man eliminated after lasting 35 minutes as Roman Reigns emerged victorious to send the fans home happy. A year later, he was facing off with Roman Reigns yet again, but this time it was at the start of the 2016 Royal Rumble, and he lasted 90 seconds. We've all been there, mate. Still though, people weren't that pissed off at the time because look, here comes AJ Styles. Thanks for missing the Tron, Kevin Dunn, you utter dick. Number 8, Vader. The Royal Rumble is actually a really good gauge of what WWE thought of Vader at the time. In 1996, there was a huge amount of hype about the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion arriving, and he came into the Royal Rumble match, murdered a load of dudes, got eliminated by Shawn Michaels, and then murdered on a few more on his way backstage. In 1997, he was a part of the final 4 of the Royal Rumble match and picked up a huge singles win over The Undertaker as well. Then, in 1998, the sodding wheels fell off. He came out at number 30, that's a good start, but then he only lasted about 2 and a bit minutes before being eliminated by Goldust, who he'd beaten earlier on in the night. He would leave the company later on that year after referring to himself as a big fat piece of shit on telly. Don't be a bully, WWE, be a star. Number 7, Hardcore Holly. Alright, no one actually bought that Hardcore Holly was going to win the WWE Championship from Brock bloody Lesnar at the 2004 Royal Rumble, but he was in a world title match. Again, yeah, it was because Brock Lesnar legitimately broke his neck a year prior, but still, a world title match nonetheless. The 2005 Royal Rumble, Hardcore Holly lasted just under 2 minutes and was the second person eliminated from the match. Thanks for coming, Sparky Plug. Number 6, the Women's Championship. In 2009, we saw Melina win the Women's Championship from Beth Phoenix in a match that, while short at 6 minutes, was particularly good. And then in 2010, the title changed hands again in a match that lasted 20 seconds. I mean, come on. We all know you just hoid them out there to have a 20-second match so people could go for a piss in between Sheamus and Randy Orton and Taker and bloody Rey Mysterio. It was ridiculous. But to make things worse, this was the culmination of that god-awful Piggy James storyline with Michelle McCool, Layla, and Mickie James. Mickie James, Piggy. Are we seeing the same thing here? I mean, come on, guys. You gave the ECW Championship match 12 sodding minutes at this pay-per-view, and who was the champion then? In the words of Todd Grisham, it's Christian. Number 5, The Miz. The Miz was the glue, alongside Cody Rhodes, wonder what he's up to nowadays, that held the 2012 Royal Rumble match together. He lasted longer than anyone else in that contest, 45 goddamn minutes. And then in 2013, he had a 7-minute losing effort on the pre-show against Cesaro. and then he lasted 5 minutes in the Royal Rumble match. Still though, this year he's going to cash in, beat Goldberg and Drew McIntyre, and become WWE Champion. If that happens, I'm going to put my bloody foot through the telly. Number 4, Owen Hart. The 1994 Royal Rumble pay-per-view was Owen Hart's coming out party. A heel turn and subsequent vicious attack on brother Bret set in motion one of the great wrestling stories. He and Bret would have that excellent opener at WrestleMania 10. Owen would go on to become King of the Ring, and then at SummerSlam, he'd take part in one of the greatest cage matches in history. So as we headed into 1995, what was next for this firmly established main event talent? 3 seconds in the Royal Rumble match before he was dumped out by brother-in-law Davey Boy Smith. They really had no idea what talent they had, did they? Number 3, Scott Steiner. The 2003 Royal Rumble pay-per-view saw the return to WWE of Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. He returned, well, a little bit earlier, and then got immediately inserted into a title match at the Rumble with Triple H. Now, granted, the match itself was crap, but Steiner was severely limited in what he could do, and he was clearly a main event concern for World Wrestling Entertainment. A year later, not so much. Triple H was still in world title matches, Reign of Terror and all that bollocks, and Scott Steiner, well, in the 2004 Royal Rumble, he lasted 6 minutes before being eliminated by former WCW rival Booker T. I'm sure Scott doesn't hold a grudge though, eh? Number 2, Chris Jericho. Hands up, I am kind of cheating on this one, but you'll allow it. In 2017's Royal Rumble match, Chris Jericho lasted over an hour and thus broke the record for longest cumulative amount of time in Rumble matches, something that would inform his feud with Kevin Owens that went to WrestleMania and probably should have been for the world title, but still. Chris Jericho went off and had that whole Alpha versus Omega thing with Kenny Omega in New Japan that may have helped establish the biggest competition WWE have had in decades, and returned to WWE for the greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, whereupon he entered at number 50 and lasted a grand total of 3 minutes. Still though, could have been worse. Hey Titus. Number 1, Taz. Being perfectly honest, Taz was the catalyst for this entire list. Taz debuted at the 2000 Royal Rumble as the mystery opponent for Kurt Angle. The roof came off Madison Square Garden. He marched down to the ring, choked out the Olympic hero, and thus ended his undefeated streak. This felt like a seismic moment of change within the WWE. It's one of the best debuts ever. Which makes it even more annoying that I have to tell you that Taz in the 2001 Royal Rumble match lasted precisely 10 seconds before being eliminated by Kane, getting in exactly 0 offense. Taz himself has said that that debut was the reason why he knew he was kind of buggered with WWE, because he got too over. And the fact that sentence exists makes me hate Vince McMahon even bloody more. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. And while you're there, follow me at Adam Wilborn. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture. Enjoy the Royal Rumble, and we will see you soon.